cankerous.
Yeah. All right. We should have sound now. My apologies. And someone smarter would have actually looked at the audio mixer beforehand. But nothing. Nothing changed. It just randomly changed. So I'm Nerdarchy Dave from Nerdarchy, and today I'm hanging out with Nate Taylor and Nina Heath from Dwarvenforge.
Woo!
And we're off to a good Monday apocalypse start.
We had some really cool apocalypse talk that was all muted. Apparently, it was
Yeah, I
really.
totally missed it. Oh, well. If you guys want to jump in and tell people, what you do for Dwarven Forge.
So I am Nate. I am the chief creative officer. So I have the amazing honor and privilege of uh, working with this unbelievable team of artists and collaboratively building all these worlds. Figure out what the heck we're gonna make, and then how we're gonna make it somehow, and we get from A to B. It's sort of like I'm the dungeon master for the group. Like I kind of have a rough plan, but the artists bring so much to the table and all these unexpected twists and turns that together we don't know where it's going to go, but we end up creating something that's much bigger than us individually. So that's it. We just make cool stuff all day, basically.
All right, and I am Nina Heath. I'm one of the members of the sculpting team at Dwarvenforge. And I, like Nate said, you're making crazy faces over there, Nate.
Tyler just brought in a secret thing.
Oh, a secret thing that we're going to show on this?
I don't know. Wait, where's the rest of it? Tyler, there's more missing. Oh.
Well, anyway, like he said, he sort of comes up with the path that we're going down, and then we throw out ways of how to get there, like send sketches and work out the problems in clay.
No, it's quite a. I'm very proud of our collaborative workflow. Like we have a really neat. I don't know. I think we have a great way of sort of piling ideas on top and tearing them back and building them up more and just piggybacking on each other. It's a pretty cool creative ferment where it's all this sort of stuff is brewing and oozing, and a lot of really interesting perspectives and just super 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 talented people. Like it's kind of staggering.
How do you guys come up with like what set you're going to do next? I mean, is it like something where you guys are like playing in your games and like I need this thing and it doesn't exist, or?
It comes with it's usually a big brainstorm session or two, and it's some of it's there. It's a merging of art and commerce, right? Where like Nina maybe like let's make a moon base, and then
I still want to make the moon base.
I know. And then we're like, well, is anybody going to buy a moon base? I'm like, oh, bring it back down. So we kind of figure out, like, it's a group like, hey, what areas would, where's something that we could build that people would actually use regularly, right? Because there's 1,000 things we could do, but our terrain is premium, it's very expensive, so we want to make stuff that people can use regularly, and they're going to be excited to put it on their table. So part of it is trying to figure out like what's an area that we haven't fleshed out that people will use regularly, and then when we kind of have that zone in, then it's like, okay, within that space, where do we get crazy? Like what's exciting to do? And then ideas just start flying left and right. Oh, we can throw this, we can do that, and make these big long lists and sort of start culling down. And then some of it is honestly, we don't really know until it's there. Like, we're kind of just going until we release into the wild. And even then there's some twists and turns that we're not expecting, right? The beauty of Kickstarter is we put it out there and all these people, they come in very passionately with a lot of ideas, some that are maybe aligned with what we're doing and some that aren't, and whatever. So we have a bunch of very interesting feedback coming fast, and we kind of adjust what we're doing a little bit based on what people are saying. Did I miss anything in there, Nina? Is there?
Well, even from the beginning, I feel like we are getting constant feedback online of just like, are you guys ever going to do this? Are you guys ever going to do this?
Conventions, right? Everybody's like, make that.
And a lot of like, wouldn't it be cool if you guys did this sort of feedback that we get? And that's always very, very helpful with figuring out what people are going to get excited about.
So, Nina, have you yet to sneak in pieces of your moon base into existing Dwarvenforge?
You know what? My whole goal was to do some sci-fi things, and I feel that this Kickstarter has given me the opportunity to do some sci-fi things. they're like alien plant type things, but you know what? They're still like, if someone is playing like some 40K and they, you know, want to use our terrain now, I feel that they could do that for certain settings.
I know for us, Ted is much more heavily vested in using terrain and minis at the table, and he usually backs the Dwarvenforge, but more so for like the bits and bobs, so he has scatter to put out.
This Kickstarter is very, very scatter friendly.
Yeah, which seems to be like the nice compromise between full on Dwarvenforge and and nothing, and nothing, because I mean the stuff is fantastic. It looks amazing, but like you've already said, it's a premium. It's a premium product.
Well, this Kickstarter. So we're doing Wildlands right now, which is live until September 2nd, and it's wilderness, right? Savage, wild, untamed wilderness terrain, and it's kind of the first time that we had the license to really be scatter heavy, right? If you're doing a dungeon, you kind of need dungeon floors, or at least we've designed everything that you need dungeon floors and walls, whatever. But with the wilderness, you could conceivably have a giant 4 foot by 8 foot mat that you use outside, or those Pathfinder, the pre-made, those cardboard mats you put down, or a dry erase board or whatever. Like, people have a bunch of stuff they've put down already potentially. So a lot of the stuff we made is literally just you can put stuff on that to make it look cooler, but it doesn't need, it's all scatter based, so you can put it on anything. And then later, if you want to buy sculpted floor tiles, forest tiles, and all this stuff, you can, and then put it on there too. But the idea is to sort of give people as much flexibility as possible, so that people could go in for some bits and bobs and feel satisfied. Be like, oh man, I got this really cool, these crazy plants and these cool trees and these cool traps and this whatever, and didn't have to spend thousands of dollars.
So, looking at the Kickstarter page, there's a ton of stuff on there. And you say Wildlands, but like, I almost want to say creepy lands. A lot of it looks very, very like creepy.
That's the wild part.
I blame Nina.
Yeah, I mean, I like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the lighting or the fog, but
maybe everything.
Wilderness is a pretty broad term, right? We were one of the driving. We had some guiding principles in this, and one is that it's a savage, untamed land. There's no active civilization. Like, it wasn't, hey, we're going to do the farmstead right by town, or the nice little road that's taking you to the village. This is like, we are out deep. Like, this is where there's nobody, the town guard's not going to come and get your back. There's no help. You're like on, far, far, far away, alone, lost in the wilds, and it will kill you. So the idea is we want to go somewhere where it's super dangerous and have the push the danger and the epicness of everything. It wasn't quiet hills with rabbits. It was like jagged mountains with were-rabbits. Although we don't have any were-rabbits yet.
Where they might not ever find your body or hear you scream.
Right? Last time I got eaten by were-rabbits, that was it. Nobody.
What is the getting shanked by that carrot is no joke. What is the strangest request you guys have gotten for terrain?
Ooh.
Strangest?
I
feel like a lot of the requests are really cool.
Or out of left field, cool, whatever, however you want to define it.
I still think about that person that wanted us to make the giant dragon rib cage that you could like go inside of. The minis could go in.
That would be great. Oh,
that thing, like a rotted out dragon carcass that the minis could go in. That sounded cool.
A boneyard would be super cool.
We get a lot of far-fetched, like super high fantasy, cool ideas that are wildly impractical, or like a thing that would be awesome to make, but have you ever, how many adventures have you had in a dragon rib cage?
Well, exactly. Like, it would look really, really cool, but
once.
Also, I don't know if we'd be able to make it modular.
Yeah. Maybe that's just because no one's had a dragon rib cage to put out before.
And that's the comeback when we say, like, we're like, well, would you ever, like, if I had a Dwarvenforge one, I would have every adventure be in the dragon rib cage. I'd build my tavern there. Yeah. But we also, people keep going back to the garter robe. Like, people are obsessed with toilets.
Oh yeah.
Like, monster poop and garter robes are like a high request item, which is like, I don't know how many times.
What is garter robes? I don't even.
Medieval bathroom, like the one that hangs off the side of the castle, and like.
Well, we had that that talented young sculptor Aurora made us one and brought it to Gen Con and gave it to us.
There were
because
so many
because
requests.
people kept
She's like,
requesting
"Here,
it. So she's like, I did it for you.
Nice.
she's what, 12?
She was 12 at the time.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing. We
13?
have a
I don't know.
12-year-old, 12 or 13-year-old sculptor, and she's unbelievable.
She's
a human
really
being.
good.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And monster poop, huh? That's another big one.
Yeah. Classic,
Gamers are weird.
that is a fact, yes. Because we're all gamers, and I can say for a fact we're all weird.
Good weird though.
Oh yeah, there's
Yeah.
good weird for sure. But so how much gaming you guys getting in during the apocalypse? More or less the same?
It was better before the bad times.
Well, sometimes I talk to people and more people are available for them, so they're actually gaming more, just doing it virtually.
I'm doing more like with not people in the office, but we used to do a lot in the office before with everybody before this. Like just before this all started, I got to run Starfinder for everybody there, which was my first time running that. And
were you like, oh, this would be so much better if I had sci-fi Dwarvenforge to run this with?
Yeah, it was definitely like a really like aggressive, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Look at how fun Starfinder is. But I miss gaming with the people in the office. But getting to play D&D remotely with friends it's okay, I guess.
We've there's been real dearth of office D&D, like zero in apocalypse time here. I've been playing with my 8-year-old son, my brother, and his 2 kids, which are 9 and 11. Every Sunday we're doing a Zoom game, which is fun. To set the cell phone up on the terrain and do little adventures. Then sometimes my 9-year-old nephew he'll DM some sessions. We'll tag off. If we finish that arc, he'll do a couple of sessions, which is really fun. Training up the next generation. But then I got to play on Saturday. I ran a game for Wildlands. We had Jim Davis from WebDM and Eber Moon and
Amy Dallin
and
Kyle Newman.
Kyle, yeah. And it was super fun to showcase. Like we get to play with the terrain, like as a team, we'll sort of play test on it and make sure everything's working. And we hadn't had that opportunity. So this was like first time play testing on this mountain terrain with all these floating drift stones. It was really fun. It was a fun experiment and cool to do it sort of live and with such a cool group of players. And
if anyone wants to check that out, they can go to twitch.tv/Dwarvenforge Live.
Dwarvenforge Live, where we are streaming every single day of this campaign. It's bonkers. Do you know anybody that streams every single day of a Kickstarter?
You know what? I don't know that I do.
No, because it's crazy.
It sure seems like a lot, yeah. Oh, we also did some streams, like right when this started. I forgot about that.
Well, we had what, 3 games or 4 games or some
with costumes and everything.
Oh, nice. So, are you guys also doing sculpting over there?
Yeah, I've been sculpting continuously since moving to my workshop to home. Yeah. It's I miss being in the office, but had to keep moving.
For streams.
Oh, actually I was sculpting a little bit on a stream on Friday. Cool. For the Level Up Dice folks.
How did you get question for Nina, how did you get into sculpting?
I've always loved sculpting. I don't know. It's something I just always loved as a kid. I used to make like tiny stuff for doll houses.
Okay.
So I've in fact always been miniature sculpting too. So
wasn't it super elaborate? Like, weren't you doing electrical and like crazy?
Well, my dad's an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
And he was helping me with my doll house, and we got it like really nice for Christmas. So doing like D&D miniatures is sort of like the perfect combination of my interests of like gaming and sculpting, and this is like the only thing that's a perfect combination of my 2 main interests. So
where else can you combine gaming and sculpting?
So I don't actually know, but Nate, are you a sculptor as well, or?
No, but I make.
He sculpts with foam. You are.
Yeah. It's well, sculpt is a song, right? I can share like here. This is a shining example of some of my work. This is the.
That thing.
Oh.
So like, I will mock stuff up in foam to figure out the geometry and kind of the general bulk of a thing before we commit. Because it's so much, foam is fast and cheap and easy. And we can instead of spending 3 weeks on a thing in clay and then realizing it doesn't work, we can do 3 hours in foam and make sure it works before we go to foam. Actually,
my dad is actually a jeweler, and he would do things in wax as opposed to metal, which some of his like really old time hardcore people that have trained him were like horrified when they learned that he was working in wax.
I've done stuff with wax. It's I mean, why wouldn't you do something that you can modify and not waste time and resources? Oh yeah, so that thing's cool.
Grognards exist in every different field.
Oh, dude, it's the best. So nerds, like, we've taken over the world. There's a nerd for everything, right? There's beer nerds and there's clubs nerds. So this was like a mock of the Stairway to Violence, and this was the violence. So it's pretty really fun to mess around and then Stairway to Violence, right? Because it spirals up.
Not heaven, violence.
Spirals up, and then you put whatever you want, whatever violent reward at the top of this thing. I started LARPing at a very young age. I was 14. I was LARPing and made a lot of foam weapons and costumes, whatever. So sort of took that foam smithery and just rolled it in over here to quickly sort of prototype stuff up. And then, it's so much easier to sit and talk as a team when I say, hey, like, we've got this big collection of pieces, this whatever, and then like look at it, show how it kind of works, and then have the team kind of acts like, well, this doesn't really, work with that, or hey, I don't think we can make that look cool, or what if you just combine those two, or but having a tangible thing to look at and say, hey, does this make sense? If whatever, / Dina can go, man, that's going to be like 3 weeks of work. Are we sure we're gonna?
It makes a huge difference. Like I don't understand how we worked anything out before we went full foam. Like it must have been really difficult.
Gonna make a roof. All right, let's take a look at. No, just sculpt it.
Well, and that's exactly what you would do. You I imagine you would just sculpt it and be like, ugh, I just wasted how many hours doing this and it didn't work.
It's easier to fix the foam than the clay.
Yeah.
Well, and the bigger problem is then some of those would just go right out and go into production, and then you wouldn't realize it didn't work until you got it. And you're like,
oh no.
Well, that was maybe we shouldn't have done that.
So
all foam.
J3 of 4, do you ever game on the foam?
Yes.
We've had some memorable foam adventures.
That thing that you just held up, that monster, what was that, like 2 years ago during Caverns Deep? We were playtesting it, and that thing came out, and everybody was screaming.
Well, that's actually pretty cool. It looks like a junkyard monster to me. Like,
it's got like
Well, and then he turned into this. It was like infinitely cooler, but there was
cool. I don't know about infinitely cooler, but it's definitely cool.
Broccoli Frog definitely got people riled up. That was a good session.
Broccoli Frog? Is that what you
call that's what we called it.
That was the nickname.
Because it looks like that.
He's got looks like his broccoli.
He's got
hanging
flocking.
off him.
Yeah.
Broccoli Frog.
How long does it take to make a Broccoli Frog?
Broccoli Frog was very fast. That was about 15 minutes. I needed something before the session, and I was like, oh man, I don't have a stand-up for this big epic, the Apex Primordial. What am I going to do? But some of them take a long time. Like I did this, the waterfall mocks for the waterfall in Wildlands was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 iterations. It was like days of like just iterating and trying to figure out some of this complex geometry, there's so many different ways to do it, and none of them are right. Like there's a lot of different ways to crack it. So sometimes it's super fast, sometimes it takes forever. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes we just go straight to concept art and be like, hey Nina, we need a thing that feels like this, and she'll be like, sketch.
Yeah, for the stuff where the geometry matters less, like little like a freestanding plant that doesn't have to fit anywhere in particular, he can just be like, we need the base to be about 1.5 inches, and then just go based on drawings. Here's some adjectives, and here's a footprint. What's in your brain?
Make
Plumb
something
the depths.
happen.
Yeah.
So, Kamo wants to know any ways that your terrain has been used that particularly surprised you, unexpected applications?
Always. They're so good. I saw one this morning actually on our Facebook fan group. Um, Somebody had taken our terrain trays, which are these metal core neoprene wrapped sort of mats. I don't. Nate can maybe hold one up to show. And they had taken the dungeon floors and done like a spiral stair going down the terrain trays, so that the build was like, I'm having trouble describing it. It was like it was built on the side of a refrigerator, but it was the terrain tray, and then there was a dragon at the bottom, and it just looked really, really cool. And I hadn't seen one like that before.
Someone took the stalagmites and stuck them on the terrain tray, and then cantilevered it out and used it as this crazy overhang for another thing. Like there's some crazy with magnets and metal. Yeah. It opens up a whole world of possibilities. And then sometimes people just like will flip a thing upside down or on its side, and you're like, oh, I didn't ever think of like you could just use it for this totally different bit. It's one of the cool things about you get a bunch of creative / and or weird people and give them all these storytelling tools, and it's like, there's all sorts of stuff. People go in 1,000 different directions, and it's
those
so
are like
cool.
My favorite things to see online, actually.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa, I never would have thought of that. That's the best.
And we have a very, very, very passionate group of fans. So there's like a lot of photos that get posted up and sent to us and put out there on social media that it's just like it's just the best to see
every day new stuff.
Bonkers.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what are the stories? Like, there's craziness happening on these, there's stories happening with these pieces all over the world right now that are just exciting.
Well, Dwarvenforge is like the ultimate building blocks from when you were a kid. Except for so much more elaborate than just like primary color pieces of wood.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same joy of building a city of blocks or a city of Legos or whatever. It's just nicer Legos.
Yeah, except for a toddler can't come and easily kick them over because it's made of Dwarvenite.
Yeah, nearly indestructible.
Yeah, which is fun to demo at conventions.
Oh yeah,
throw it on the ground at the convention center and stamp on it.
We dare people to throw it onto the ground, and they don't want to. They don't want to do it.
Oh, I would totally do that. I'm showing up with a baseball bat.
Go ahead.
You go. You go.
Okay, I was gonna say at the end of PAX, back in the good times when we were still doing conventions, we punched the build off of the table into like the tablecloth, like a big and just to demonstrate, and also just because it's faster to clean up that way, but to demonstrate just how indestructible it is, that like we are willing to push our own build off of this table.
Yeah.
It was horrifying, such amazing.
You need Gallagher with a sledge-o-matic.
Yeah. Where is Gallagher these days? Watermelons.
Somewhere smashing watermelons.
Yeah.
Some guy at the last PAX.
He's really old at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's like, I wonder if he's still around. Some guy at PAX East was, I don't remember what I was talking about. I was going to do the indestructibility thing and happened to be holding the Apex Primordial. And I was like, no, throw it on the ground. These are indestructible. And he's like, I can't. This is a work of art. I'm like, just throw it on the ground. It's indestructible. So he threw it on the ground as hard as he could. And it's a multi-part piece. So it's joined in the middle and glued. And the glue popped and it split in half. And he was like, he thought he just like destroyed the start. I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I popped it back up through and popped it back together. And he was like, oh, he was like, so like, it just, it shattered his mind.
You gave that guy a heart attack.
Have you ever done the test and gotten a bad piece?
No.
No.
That was the worst. No, it doesn't break. Like, it's not going to, sometimes a multi-part piece will come apart. Generally, you do it with just a wall or a floor that's a single piece. But
no even like if it's multi-part, you can put them back together.
Yeah.
Even if it warps, you can bend it back into place. Like they're really durable.
It's going to last forever. Except for the smallest sculptor, Momo, who turns a regular piece into ruins piece.
They're piercing damage, slashing damage, and fire damage will will destroy these. But
But
most
bludgeoning
other
is not a
things,
problem.
bludgeoning is fine. Necrotic probably fine. I don't know. We've never tried that.
So you're saying
Should get
Momo has taken a few pieces out?
He's done some sculpting of his own. Yeah, he's done some modding with his teeth.
Nice.
Mostly just turning them into ruins.
Say hi,
Yeah.
Momo.
Momo.
Oh, president.
So Brian Smith wants to know what pieces are conceptually cool but practically difficult. Glass towers, cloud castles, etc.
Oh, we
Glass
did
towers,
a cloud castle once.
Yeah.
The pictures are somewhere online.
Yeah.
Is that just the castle set put in the clouds?
Yeah.
Well, we use
Plexiglass.
those risers from Axe and Shield, the big ones, and just suspended it over like cotton fluffy stuff. I forget what that stuff is called. And
The batting or
I don't know.
what's it called?
There's lots of stuff though that's completely impractical that we want to do and can't do.
We try it sometimes.
Like a moon base.
A moon base
Yeah,
would be totally
moon-
practical.
Totally doable. Yeah, we modular moon and moon
We
base
just
totally
try to-
doable.
If people decide that they want sci-fi, then
Yeah.
The some of the translucent stuff with embedded LEDs gets a little trickier than it might seem.
oh yeah, when we try to jam too many features into something.
Yeah, or also like the original Dwarvenite ice that was done in clear didn't actually look as great because you could see through the tile would sit on it was on a black table. All the ice looked black, and that was so. There's definitely some little tricky things that don't seem so tricky that come up, and some people suggest definitely some crazy ideas that are not feasible. Like for Wildlands, people have been asking for like a giant world tree that's like a foot in diameter that goes up forever. I'm like, well, first of all, it would cost $1 bazillion. How many times would you use it? How would you store it? How do we ship? Like, how do we build I don't know.
It would have been cool,
Yeah.
amazing,
but it would have been like as tall as a child,
yeah,
like a 7-year-old.
It cost as much as sending a child to college. It would be like, I don't know, just not so feasible.
So no yes drill.
No,
Not right now.
Well, but yeah, maybe just one for the office.
Right, a one-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever do that? More like, just like demo pieces, just something cool, and you guys use it for the office, or is that everything has been made to be produced?
There's a couple things that never got made that are kind of hanging out in the office.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them.
Oh no, you have an island of misfit toys.
Yeah.
We have the unreleased. We have some things that sometimes they sit on the shelf for a year or two, and put me in, coach, put me in, and eventually they make it in, and some of them never will, and you kind of don't know until they do. And did we ever make any crazy one-offs for conventions or anything? Or
Well, we made that really sweet build for the Tomb of Annihilation for Force Grey all those years ago.
Yeah. Oh, Chuck is an Air Force engineer.
Yeah.
And the gears of what is it? The gears of death, the gears of that. There's a rotating level in the Tomb of Annihilation where it's like rooms on giant gears that turn and rotate. So he made a working version of that using Lazy Susans, a bunch of trigonometry, and then our pieces, and like it's bonkers.
Oh, you didn't want to mass produce that? I'm sure everyone.
It wasn't feasible. It was like, well, that was
Not with
that was
that
the
attitude, it's
Matt for Gray thing. It was a good. Yeah, it would have been. And how many times are you going to run that? And I don't know. It was pentagonal.
We made some like special monsters too, like the Atropal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was a one-off that was really awesome and never got. It's that like nasty baby monster thing from the Tomb of Annihilation. Yeah, it's like an unfinished immortal thing that's like a kind of a god, but it's undead and an abomination.
It's like a 20-foot like necrotic fetus.
Yeah.
Like not a good. Yeah, you don't want to run into it.
Yeah, no, I know which monster it is.
Yeah.
And once you start describing it.
Yeah, it's viscerally disgusting. So Drew Williams sculpted one specifically for that, and it was awesome. And
so your office games, are they usually official published stuff, homebrew stuff?
All homebrew.
But you did get it published though, online, the Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah, we did.
People can
published
download it.
Yeah, it's true. There's a link somewhere on dwarvenforge.com/prepare to meet your doom, I think.
Yeah.
You can find it on our site somewhere. We do it. It's like a 400-page module that we publish.
It's really nice.
Well,
graphic design's beautiful.
That's still your homebrew.
Yeah. No, we've done a lot of it's basically all our various homebrew. Nina runs stuff that she makes up, and Eli runs stuff that he makes up, and I run some stuff. Tyler runs stuff that he makes up. Like we have a ton of dungeon masters here, and a ton of players. We're all gamers, so there's like.
Okay.
I don't know that we have done any modules in the office, like official ones.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I am finally just playing like my first, written adventure.
Which one?
Which one am I playing? Oh, Curse of Strahd. Because we get all the books, and we just like cherry pick them for stuff, but we don't ever really, ever really use them. We end up just writing, our own stuff and coming up with our own stuff all the time. And our group has always been like that.
How's the experience of running through the module that someone else has written?
Oh, I'm not running it. I'm a player,
Right.
But no, it's been fun. I mean, El Genio, DM Jazzy Hand, is the DM and running it. He's a fantastic GM. And then before that, James Intricasso had run the Frozen Sick for that group as well, which he had written.
Cool.
So I guess that was actually the first like pre-written adventure I've gone through. But but it's also different because like the designer was running it, and and James is also a fantastic GM as well. We're just too lazy to like to read a whole module and then run it. It's like we're very improv.
Although it feels like it'd be a lot less prep than actually. I don't know. Like,
it is great when you don't have time to just pull something out. I've done that for other groups.
I stress over prep. Like I don't know, and then you're never done. You never enough time. Like I don't know, to have like it's all the prep has been done. You just gotta go up, read the thing. Like I don't know.
I always feel like for me it's easier to just run off something off the cuff. Like I'll come up with a couple ideas, and then just see what the players kind of do with it, and then
I agree with that.
And then otherwise, like actually running a pre-written adventure to me feels like homework. I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna have to read this whole thing and make sure I read ahead of where the players are going to be. So
we've done that at conventions where we kind of just wing it.
Yeah.
A rough outline of like here's the build, here's a couple of points, go.
Yeah.
And then sometimes just not even a rough outline, just here's the build, and like okay, go.
Pretty much anyone on the team could be dropped down on a with a if there was a build there and you had like 5 minutes to get ready, I feel like any convention team could sort of drop in and be like, all right, let's gonna run.
So there's been an idea we've been meaning to pitch you guys, right? And that's like a chopped version of D&D where you just give someone a box of Dwarvenforge stuff and like X amount of time and for them to come up with a build and an adventure to then run a group through.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That's awesome. Yeah.
An interesting interactive thing we could when
the apocalypse ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll end eventually.
Yeah. Has to.
It has to. So Brian Smith has another question. Do you have a favorite trap? I'm guessing you guys might have some fun ideas of the mechanics of a dungeon trap.
Yeah. I like the we have a spring-loaded trapdoor in the Shrine of Sassul. You press a little button and the doors actually drop and you can.
Oh, people love that one.
It just never.
We demo it at conventions. We just like push the button and people are like, like they get so excited.
Because it's awesome.
We have one that's like a rolling boulder. That you push the thing and the boulder rolls down. That one's pretty cool.
The magnetic trap floors are really fun too. Like we have, it looks like a regular floor tile, but you can, if you use a little magnetic wand, you can lift it up and reveal whatever's underneath it. So you can mix it in with the regular floors and it fits in seamlessly until someone steps on it and you can do the thing. And like, there's something mind blowing, especially when people have never seen it. The fact that like you premeditated this thing there and it was there the whole time. And they stepped on it. And we have some secret doors we have this one particular, the corner secret door piece, which is this little, it's a sliding thing that opens and the arch sort of reveals there's a hole that passes through, but it's so secret. Our poor customer service team, Chuck, gets all these like calls for like, I got my set, but I didn't get my secret door. And he's like, no, you have it. And they're like, no, I definitely don't have it. I just got an extra corner. Because I know, flip them over, look at the SKU, the one that's AV511, slide the back in the store, and they're like, oh my God, it's the secret door. I didn't even know it was there. And like,
we made it maybe a bit too secret.
Yeah. Well, secret was right in the name. Come on.
Yeah, but no, you can't tell. It's identical to the regular one, except it slides up.
Didn't we make the bricks on the back a little bit different?
It's slightly different, and you can see the groove. You really
and I think it's
painted
slightly differently too.
It's negligible enough difference that people all the time. I at home I paint the bottom of them bright red so that they're easier to pick out in the lineup when I have a big pile of stuff.
Oh, so you just need to know the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, red paint. That's the trick of the trade.
Who's in charge of secret doors and traps?
Toby is the trap tester of Valoria. He's if it doesn't kill Toby, it's not worth putting out.
Nice.
He's our resident technomancer. We got a 3D printer recently, and he's been printing all these sort of crazy armatures and sort of a thing that Nina's working on right now. He's working out a moving hinge for it, and he puts in embeds all the LEDs in our prototypes. So he was an architecture major in college and a geek and a gamer, and so it's sort of that perfect thing. So he loves sort of the mad science of how to, can we make this trap actually work? Can we?
I think we started calling him the trap tester when he ran across a pentagram in that one game, and he got teleported into hell.
Yeah.
And I think he also got like his face burned off by acid. Yep. And it was first edition, so he couldn't be a paladin anymore because he wasn't handsome enough.
He lost his charisma.
So he
and then it became the running gag in our intro videos, all of our Kickstarter intro videos from Dungeon Doom onward. When we sort of demo, like people are at the table playing, he's always the guy that demos the trap in the video and then screams, no, is the trap off every time. He's like the Kenny of South Park. He just keeps, he gets killed in every
you
every
bastards, you killed Toby.
Mm-hmm.
you bastards, you burned off Toby's face.
We do.
Well, Stefan does these. He's brutal,
ruthless.
Well, I mean that was just kind of first and second edition anyway.
That Gygaxian sadism. It's like,
takes glee in the miserable.
Are you familiar with the kids cartoon Dexter's Laboratory?
Yeah.
Well, they have a D&D like game in there, and they're always like, I don't know why we come over here and play this game with you. All you do is try and kill us.
That's Stefan.
Yeah, and that kind of sums it up.
I feel like that's the difference between sort of the first edition, second edition mentality and sort of modern fifth edition mentality, where it's sort of first edition. It was like you built this sort of punishing world that the players would try and kind of survive through. And I feel like now it's much more, you're there to collaboratively just experience the story together. You're there to facilitate some tricks and some turns and sort of build on what they're coming up with. But it's thankfully kind of gotten away from the idea of just sort of like building this mercilessly punishing world.
I feel like that's games in general, because video games have gone that way too. They used to be just incredibly hard, and now it's hard to die sometimes.
Yeah. I know these kids in their games. I'm like, have you ever played?
They got it too easy.
Ghouls and Goblins is the worst. Oh, and you have to always go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Ghosts and Ghouls. What was it? Ghosts and Ghouls. Right?
Ghosts and Goblins. Ghosts and Goblins. And you get it. You can take 2 hits. The first one knocked your armor off. And
armor goes flying off, and then you're in your underwear, just like running with your lance, and all those platforming games. You just had to memorize the patterns, and good times.
Good times. I did get to play an adventure with Stefan at D&D in a castle, and he ran his castle thing. Oh, wow. And it was so cool when someone cast a lightning bolt and they had it bounce. I'm like, I haven't seen that in a long, long time.
Well, probably only if it could hit another player. Was the reason it bounced. Knowing Stefan.
Well, Well, it hit the monsters too,
Okay.
twice. But, but no, that was the thing. Like, so I found like the old school DMs, like they were brutal and harsh, but they had like a set of rules they played by, and
Yeah.
like the good ones anyway, and they didn't break those rules. Like, so like there was like an honor system.
Yeah, they had a code.
Yeah, it was gonna probably kill you, but they didn't break their code to kill you. That would be cheating.
It was lawful and evil. Yeah.
But yeah, no. In the early editions, I remember lightning bolts bounce, and that was in the book anyway. So if it hit something, it would come back, and that was always the danger of being a wizard and casting lightning bolt.
Or fireball and nuking your whole party.
Well, that still happens. Hit points are a resource, is a saying that's been bandied in our group, even in 5e. So Rivers RPG wants to know what edition of D&D do you play, and which is your favorite?
5th and 5th.
I concur.
Yeah.
I've played AD&D second, 3.5. I didn't play 3, but I played 3.5, 4, and 5, and I definitely like 5 the best. So I think it's streamlined in all the right ways. It's got depth in all the right ways, and it mostly just facilitates good collaborative storytelling. Like it's fun, fast, and easy to just get it and start having a challenging, interesting, dynamic adventure.
Yeah, it's great for getting new players in. It's got just enough crunch to make it interesting, and it took 5e for me to realize what I missed from second edition and first edition going into third.
Yeah, well, I think it captures the spirit of first and second with all the modernization of modern times, right? Like I
actually also never played 3rd and only played 3.5.
Well, you didn't miss much.
I didn't miss much. Okay.
No. I mean, it was like really small tweaks where they released the books, people started playing and went, "Oh, this doesn't work right," and then they released
quickly
3.5,
patched it up. 3.5 was brilliant. There definitely was a lot of really interesting, groundbreaking stuff in there, and like definitely my math brain likes 3.5. But just for the speed of play and friendliness of things, like 5th edition is just dynamite. There's apparently who is it? N-World or somebody's working on Level Up. They're doing advanced 5th edition.
Yeah, I mean, not them specifically, but in general, when I see companies like make stuff for 5e and it just feels like they're trying to roll it back to 3rd edition.
Yeah,
I kind of get a little bit of an eye roll going on. So I was like, just play that edition if that's what you like.
Yeah, it exists. Like those books, they're the hardcover thing over there. You can just pick them up
or Pathfinder, or just play Pathfinder. They're doing all those things plus more. So
yeah. Have you played Pathfinder 2? I haven't played it yet.
I have not played it yet. I made like a character, which was kind of interesting, but I have not had a chance to play it yet.
Have you played it, Nina?
No.
And Starfinder built
Starfinder's Pathfinder in space.
Yeah.
There's some of the cleanup from two. I mean, actually, I feel like from the
it was the precursor.
Kind of went into it, but it is mostly Pathfinder in space, is my understanding. Not that my Pathfinder knowledge is extensive. I don't have enough time to play multiple fantasy genre RPGs.
I'm with you there. There are some. Actually, there are quite a few added features in Starfinder, but the core of it is just Pathfinder in space.
When people ask me, it's like, if I'm going to play fantasy, it's probably just going to be 5e. And then like I start moving into other games when I want to like play with a different, genre or trope or whatever.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What's that game that you were running, Nina? Dread?
Oh yeah, Dread was a lot of fun.
Oh, with the tower.
Yeah, exactly. With the Jenga tower, we did a Halloween game that was one of the most fun times I've ever had running a game.
People at the office were freaking out for that. Like,
yeah, it was great. But I've never seen a game of Jenga that good. Like that tower was balancing on like one brick for like every level, like 6 levels up. It was, and every time I thought they were gonna knock it over, they didn't do it. So it eventually somebody punched it over. Like he sacrificed himself to save the group by punching the tower over, but they never actually like
it never toppled.
Yeah,
cheated. No, that's super cool. That's one of the games I want to play that I haven't got a chance to, or just add that dread mechanic into a game.
It would be
I
fun.
recommend Dread. It's a lot of fun.
It could be a fun mini game inside a D&D.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Just instead of rolling the dice, just have a Jenga tower.
Well, it's so visceral too. I imagine just because.
Oh yeah, well the tension, the
Yeah.
anxiety.
You roll the dice, the tension's over, but like with each pull, it just gets like worse and worse.
And they go so slow, so the tension builds, and
well, it's a physical manifestation of the tension, right? Sitting there mocking you. You know you're gonna have to pull at some point. It's getting more and more precarious.
Yeah, and then you, I'm sure like everyone has that one player where you have to keep them away from the table so they don't accidentally just knock it over incidentally.
Speaking of dice tension, so we've been for these live stream games that we've been doing in the office, we've been using Vorpal Board, which is this it's a streaming platform that's in beta. They've been super cool with us. We're like their super beta testers. They've been adding all these features for us and whatever. But my favorite part about it, well, it's really good for analog digital. Like it's set up to do board games or D&D or whatever. So it's really neat set up. But it has it has a digital dice interface that I just love. And it rolls on the screen for everybody to see. And it's amazing what it like engages you in everybody else's dice roll.
Yeah, I like it.
You're looking at what their dice are doing and you want to cheer for that. Like it rather than sort of you're off in your tray and nobody can see what's going on. Like it's everybody's watching your die roll as it tumbles and it has the nice physics and
so everybody reacts at the same time. It's fun.
Yeah, it really makes then this nice drama that I don't
Except
know.
mine had a lag on it, so everybody would react, and I'd be like, "What happened? What did I roll?" My internet was not great, so
yeah, everybody's either cheering or covering their face, and you don't know what the number is.
So is that like a tabletop simulator?
Yeah, it's like it's essentially it's like a tabletop simulator mashed up with Zoom or whatever. So it's got live, everybody's got a live feed there, but the board is you use a Pixel phone, or actually now it works on an Apple phone too. You have a cell phone dedicated as the camera for it, but then it also has like analog. It has hand management tools, and it has so you could give people players handouts, or you could do cards, or you can sort of hand them up, and they have a sort of a digital version of those. And it has a really cool feature where you can mouse over the board, or in this case, like a Dwarvenforge build, and it zooms in each player's mouse. Like it zooms in for them, like where they are, so they can sort of see if they're moving around, as well as you can see everybody else's mouse. So the blue player can say, "Hey, I'm going to move my mini over there," or whatever, and then so the DM, you can move the mini over there and reveal the trap and whatever as they get there. And it's really awesome. They should be. I think they go into public beta next month in September. Vorpal Board.
It's going to be good for people that everybody has to play remotely. It sort of really helps facilitate that.
One of the discussions we kind of had is we're kind of wondering what kind of things are going to come out of all of this with more people gaming remotely. What kind of solutions people are going to come up with to the problems they see.
Well, Vorpal is definitely a good one. Like it's a really it's a nice way to play digitally with your analog toys still.
Are you guys getting stories back about how people are using Dwarvenforge, even though we're playing remotely more?
Yeah. Some
a lot of people just doing the pictures, so it's helping them with their maps for remote play to just build it and take like top downs.
Okay.
Also, there's a few like Mike, Padme's lover, one of our longtime fans backers, has been running some games outdoors where he'll make his setup, put on a table, and then have his group come, and everybody's sitting like 8 feet apart around the thing, but he has like kind of a build in the center to ground it, which is kind of neat. And, a lot of the digital map, like take a photo of your build and then use that to run on. So my 9-year-old nephew does. So if a 9-year-old can make it work, most people should be able to.
Yeah, or you can even set up a dedicated camera, a separate camera, and just screen share it.
That's what I do at home. I just use my cell phone as the live cam. What's fun is you can do this sort of cinematic, like when it's the player's turn, you kind of zoom in. I have it on a little arm so I can move it in and be like, "Oh, you're over here," and then move it over there.
You're a film person, so
Yeah.
probably like your mind goes right to how can I make this cinematic?
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd probably have my thumb over the lens and it would be blurry.
You've got amazing cinematic instincts, Nina. You'd like.
Not when I have to use a camera.
You'd strap a GoPro to Momo's head, and he could be the.
Actually, I did get Momo Cam up and working.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Is that your studio assistant?
Momo?
Yeah.
He's my supervisor.
Yeah.
He makes sure I'm on task. He actually, like, my couch is right behind where I work,
Yeah.
and he goes up on the back of the couch and just, like, leans over it and watches me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Watching over your shoulder.
He's a micromanager.
And when he doesn't like it,
Bodyguard.
he comes and gnaws it away.
Fact.
Well, you know, it's good to have those studio assistants or supervisors, as the case may be. So the games that you guys were playing in Office, do you guys run campaigns, one-shots, take turns DMing?
Both. There was a couple campaigns and a couple one-shots, and we had some reoccurring characters going for a long time. That was pretty good.
We play tested Dungeon of Doom and Caverns Deep with the same batch of characters.
Those characters actually started in a game that was it Eli ran for fun that we made those characters initially.
Yeah.
What, a game for fun?
I know.
Well, I mean, it's not that the playtest games aren't fun, but like they're also work.
Yeah.
There's no agenda. This is a game of just like, hey, let's sit down and play.
I think it was his birthday, and he just wanted to run a game for us.
Yeah.
What is the gaming fun to work ratio?
Interesting question.
Right now, it's like a 0 to 0 to 1.
Well, of course, obviously now.
Yeah.
I mean, before the dark days.
1 to 1?
Well, there's a lot of fun that was happening that had nothing to do with gaming.
That's true.
There's a lot of funny stuff that happened in the office.
Play Magic, do Magic drafts, and sometimes board games.
We did karaoke a couple times.
Yeah.
The Christmas party got kind of wild.
LARPing. We've gone out in the woods and beat people with padded weapons.
Styrofoam sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a ferocious LARP team, office LARP team.
Oh, are you guys still well, not currently, but
It got canceled for the fall and the spring, unfortunately, but
you guys were LARPing?
Oh yeah, there's a long running story, so I hate a cliffhanger, and now we're gonna have to wait until God knows when to get the.
Wait, did they cancel spring also?
They canceled this past spring and this coming fall, but
meant
next spring.
I was like, you said fall and spring, and I was like, no, it's already gonna be over.
Yeah, no. Hopefully next spring we can be back, but it really left off in just like a crazy place. So.
And what is the LARP you guys do?
Called Madrigal. It's what's this system now? A Catalyst system. It's Rob Ciccolini, who's been running games since 1989. The very first time I LARPed when I was 14, he was running that very first game that I played. And he's been running LARP for 30-something years, whatever. He's
a great game, great people, great staff, great
circle of people.
Everything about it.
Where is that run out of?
Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a really good. If you want to come up and throw on some armor and beat some people up, it's really it's the best group of players. Like the community, the players and the NPCs and the staff team. Like it's magical.
Yeah.
Very special.
Rob really created something, a good community there.
Yeah. Ted used to LARP for quite some time, and he even ran a LARP for like 5 years. Then you got married and had kids.
Yep.
And kids wreck everything, so.
It definitely gives its own unique set of challenges.
For sure. So how long have you been LARPing?
29 years?
That's a long time.
How old am I? Maybe 30 years.
That's a long time. You've been LARPing
since 89. What year is it now? 2020. So that's 31 years? Jeez.
Wow, you've been LARPing as long as I've been alive.
Well, then you also look good for your age, then, whatever that is.
My wife works in skin. Got weird potions and acids and all sorts of
Alchemy, an alchemist.
yeah. Then I have my phylactery here, so my soul is
She's a beauty alchemist.
yeah.
I have never LARPed, and now I feel like I'm probably way too old and my body's falling.
No. There's older than you there.
Oh, I'm sure.
We always need cannon fodder.
No. It doesn't matter. There are people there that, like, you know, there's different aspects of the LARP. You know, there's the whole tavern, there's the politics, there's a lot of things you can do other than running around and hitting people, that a lot of people will do that. But also
run around and hit people. I will totally do the things I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Just be injured.
Yeah.
There were times at the end of the weekend I could not walk. So, you know,
it's worth pushing yourself. It's definitely being surrounded by all these other like-minded geeks where everybody is in, you know, you're all suspending your disbelief in this fantasy world nonstop for a whole weekend. It's like, it's bonkers.
Everybody really commits. That's one of the special things about it, is you really can feel like you're there.
Yeah. So do you do all fantasy LARPs, or you do different ones?
Fantasy. There's, you know, it's for whatever reason, there's a bunch out there. There's some post-apocalyptic ones, and there's zombie killing ones, and there's, I don't know, there's other ones that somehow doesn't resonate as well as fantasy for me. But the sci-fi is even harder too, because it's like the tech isn't, like, you have to use like a Nerf gun and stuff. It's not quite, you don't feel like a badass like firing a Nerf gun the way you do like smacking someone with a two-handed sword.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know.
Sword and shield special.
Nerf guns are a lot of fun. I know we did like one of my son's birthdays. Like, his birthday is, you know, in the end of November, so it's getting cold out. You can't do like all the cool stuff. Like, my daughter would always get pool parties because she's in August. And so the one year I just bought a bunch of like knockoff Nerf guns and just gave them to all the kids. And you know, my wife and my mother-in-law were like, we're gonna set up games, and they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that. I'm like, no, they're gonna all just shoot each other in the face with these guns for the next like 2 hours. That's what's probably gonna happen.
Well, that's fun. But it's like, if you're deep in the sci-fi world and you've been playing this character for 3 years and thinking, like, you know, you go out in this dark thing and you get like hit in the chest with like a Nerf dart and die. Like, it just doesn't feel, it's like not the same as like,
it's not the same as like when you're casting a spell and you're like, by my voice inflict, like, and then some sort of effect, and then the person just dives onto the ground and starts like, like
run up with a huge,
so you can kind of pretend that you actually did it.
I know we had Mark Muir on. He was saying he does a Call of Cthulhu LARP.
That's fun. And creepy, you can definitely create a weird, creepy environment in the whole experiential.
And then everyone has to gouge their eyes out at the end. And
you lose your sanity. It's you know, all bets are off.
So J304 mentions Gen Con True Dungeon is the only LARPing I love.
Yeah, but it's not like there's no.
You don't get to hit anybody.
You don't get to wear armor and hit people. Yeah. Like, that's, you know.
Well, I see where your true love is. You're like, I just need to hit somebody with something.
Well, how often have you gotten to attack someone with a sword?
It's a lot of fun to sword fight people and not worry about actually hurting anybody.
I must say I haven't. Although Ted used to practice Arma, so like so they used to whack each other with swords.
Yeah.
He's been dubbed Pinky Bane. He's broken a couple pinkies.
Oh.
Not his, other
How
people.
Many? Oh. Okay. Not his.
No, he had this one session where no one showed up but one other guy, and they're like, I'm gonna work on your aggression today. So the very next time, like, they all met, and like you know the one kid comes out, and like within like the first few seconds, he gets whacked in the hand, breaks the pinky. And then he's like, okay, I'm done. And then someone else is like, well, I'm kitted up. I might as well jump in there. Same exact thing happens almost immediately. And then after that, Ted threw his sword and his gloves on the ground. He's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, nothing good ever. Starting with let's work on your aggression. Nothing good has ever started from there. Like,
that might be accurate. So
throwing it up there.
I just want to mention and let everyone know there are links in the description, so you can follow Nate and Nina at Dwarvenforge, and also check out the Kickstarter that is, definitely funded
Yeah,
sure.
we did 1,000,094 minutes.
Yeah.
We funded in a minute. We did 1,094 minutes. And we broke 2 million in 2 days or something.
It
How long
was
did it?
the fastest we've ever done it.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
an
Like
amazing launch. We have a really good group of folks supporting us, and we have, what do we have, 15, 17 days left? I don't know.
I was talking to Nina before we started, and and we were having a discussion. We're like, we wonder how companies like Dwarvenforge are dealing with all this going on. And I was like, well, they got a Kickstarter going on right now. Let's see. And like you said, it funded in $1 million in 90 minutes. I'm like, I guess they're doing okay.
Well, we didn't know, honestly.
Yeah, we were
It's
worried.
really scary. Launching in an apocalypse is scary, but I think it turns out it's probably a good time, right? Our buddies at Wormwood launched a few days after us, and they're at like 6.5 million or something. Like there's definitely a ravenous appetite for gaming right now. So it
Those
seems
tables
like
are beautiful.
Wormwood they know how to make that stuff.
So
I think the apocalypse cannot destroy gaming. We're still
the apocalypse
will
nurtures
survive.
gaming.
I think one of my players the other night, before his girlfriend got on, he's like, yeah, I just ordered a table. Oh yeah, and don't tell Tima. I'm like, I think she's gonna know when this big table shows up. You're not gonna be able to hide.
It's hard to hide a table. Yeah.
So we are just past the hour mark. Any thoughts before we head on out?
Keep gaming, keep having fun. Don't let the apocalypse get you down. Go check out our Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Nice.
and if you've got questions, we are super active. We're in the comments section, and we are all over social media, and we're on Twitch every single day during this thing. So there's a ton of opportunities to interact with us, get your questions answered, see what it's all about. We're really trying to show behind the curtain and answer people's questions, show people how the stuff is made, sort of show our process. And connect with them. So
you can really write to us on any platform that we're on. But the big ones on Twitter, we're at Dwarvenforge. On Instagram, we are at Dwarvenforge Official. YouTube at Dwarvenforge. Facebook at Dwarvenforge. Pretty much everything else at Dwarvenforge except for Instagram.
And you can see we have a website up about Wildlands at dwarvenforge.com/wildlands, WILDLANDS. To get
lots of beautiful pictures, lots of info, lots of breakdowns about how things work. We have a whole YouTube playlist about how all the different things look and work, and it's really great. Check it out. And
we've got more. We're generating. We're gonna shoot a bunch more videos tomorrow, and we're just gonna keep generating a ton of content and be super accessible
and streaming every day. I heard that mentioned as well.
Yeah, we're streaming. I think we're averaging like 90 minutes of content a day. Streamed content plus video content plus all the social posts and whatever. We're like super accessible, and that's one of the things we pride ourselves on. Is we're humans. Turns out we're happy to be humans, and we're sort of showing people and connecting with people and saying like there's a lot of accessibility and a lot of availability.
We're not some big faceless corporate entity. If you're talking to us online, you're probably actually talking to us online. So be nice.
There's no Nate and Nina bots.
Yeah. We're working. Toby is building some bots in the workshop right now to replicate it.
Well,
but it's really nice to be able to connect with people, and it's helped us through the apocalypse, and it's carrying this Kickstarter. So we're looking forward to it. So come check it out, and come join the party.
Awesome. I want to thank you both for coming on. Appreciate it. It was great chatting with you guys.
Thanks for having us.
And until next time, stay nerdy.
Woo, nerds!